Okay, we've looked at indices recently, and we started to look at negative numbers. But we never looked at anything that wasn't a whole number. What on earth is 9 to the power of a half?
That's a question we're going to have to work out now.
So I'm going to draw a peculiar number line first to try and explain this. So we're going to have equal steps, but we're not going to go up in adding, we're going to go up in multiplying. So this is the 0th step, this is the first step, this is the second step, this is the third step, this is the fourth step, this is the fifth step
On this number line.
You might notice that that number there is 3 squared, and that number there is 3 cubed. So these actually match up. Okay? So there's a certain sense in which 9 is half the distance to 81. There's a certain sense in which 3 is half the distance to 9. Okay? It's not our normal half the number of adding steps. It's half the number of multiplying steps. Okay? So this question here could be interpreted as, what is halfway to 9 in a multiply kind of way? Well, that is clearly 3. Halfway to 9 in a multiply kind of way is clearly 3. Another way to interpret this is to think about the fact that 9 is 3 squared. So this is actually the same as 3 squared to the power of a half. Well, we know our index laws for this. 2 times a half is 1. So that's 3 to the 1, which is 3. So my question then it would be, what do we know about 3 and 9? What can I do to 9 that gets us to 3? Well, you should know that 9 is the square, that 3 rather, is the square root of 9. Now these things are all the same, which means that this must be true, and this is the key point. 9 to the power of a half
Means the square root of 9.
So b to the power of a half is the square root of b. And this continues. We could also do 64 to the power of a third. Well, if a half was square root, had 2-iness, a third must be cube root, must be 3-iness. And that gets us 4. And you can do the similar number line stuff. A 4 is a third of the way to 64 in a multiply kind of way. 1, 4, 16, 64. That is 1 step, that is 3 steps, so that's a third of that. Right.
One last big leap.
What on earth is, pick a nice example, 27 to the power of 2/3. So this is tricky. We know that thirds means cube rooting. So we're going to cube root 27, and we know that 2 means squaring.
So the cube root of 27
is 3, and squaring is still there, so we get 9. And if we look back at our number line, 9 is 2/3 of the way to 27.
in a multiply kind of way.
It's all super consistent. So you can do it purely computationally, or you can have a feel for what's going on. And very finally, all together, let's do 4 to the power of negative 3 halves. All right. The negative we met before, that makes it a fraction. I mean 1 over something. The 2 is a square root, and the 3 is a cube. So we're going to get 1 over 2 cubed, which is 1 over 8. And if we want to try our number line thing, 1, 2, 4, 8, a half, a quarter, an eighth, a 16th. So this is our number line in 2s. That's step 0, 1, 2, 3. That's step -1, -2, -3. So 4 was here and was 1, 2 steps that way. An eighth is here and is 3 steps the other way. So it's 3 halves of the distance backwards. So you could just crunch through computationally, or you can see it all makes sense on the number line. You have a choice either way. Enjoy.